let's start with the Warriors. So I got to admit to you, I've been a Warriors fan over half my life. I love this team. Steph Curry literally made me fall in love with the game of basketball. Of course, became big fan of Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steve Kerr, and then of course the cast and characters that have followed from there. And I can't say there's been very many games, and I watch just about every dribble of every Warriors game every year, regular season, playoffs, all of it. I don't think I've ever been more deflated, than shocked, than just the only word I can use, it may sound cheesy, but proud of my team than what they pulled off last night in Minnesota in game one. 99-88 was your final score. Warriors beating the Timberwolves in it to start the second round. It was shocking. So Steph Curry, with 8 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second quarter, leaves the basketball game after he pulled his hamstring, which he did a couple of plays before. He actually made a little floater shot before that. The first time you could see it was he was moving on defense. He kind of grabbed a little bit, got the rebound on a Minnesota miss, ended up getting a floater. It's clearly still bothering him. And then he ends up assisting Draymond Green on a three-point shot. Timeout. Steph leaves the game, does not return. So again, I will be uploading this video later in the day. So the MRI results that Steve Kerr said Steph Curry's going to get an MRI today will potentially be out by the time that this video is out. If I had to guess, if I had to go off of what prognosticators seem to think that it is, I would guess probably, again, no doctor, grade 1 hamstring strain, which is usually about a 1 to 2 week injury. And that makes this win for the Warriors even more critical the way that they got it last night. First of all, there's no way on planet Earth, even if he were 75% healthy, 80% healthy, Steph Curry's playing tomorrow night. There's no way on planet Earth. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to boat race the Warriors in game 2 for a number of factors that I'll get into. Game 3, I think Steph, which is going to be on Saturday, by the way, I think Steph is going to go out of his way to try and play with what we assume will be a 1-1 series. I do not think he will. I think Monday's game 4 is the most likely return for Steph Curry. That'll have been 6 days post-injury. It's playoffs. You play through a lot of stuff. You return a lot sooner than you would in the regular season. If I had to guess, I'd say game 4 is probably when Steph's back, where worst case scenario, you're down 2-1 as opposed to 3-0, which I was seriously nervous could very well happen to the Warriors. And we can show you the numbers, what they did over the rest of the game when Steph exited. They actually outscored the Timberwolves by 1 point, but still, let's just say for the sake of argument, played them dead even. Warriors scored 69, Timberwolves scored 68, Golden State held Minnesota to 44% from the field after that point, and they forced 12 turnovers in that 2.5 quarter stretch. And there's 2 silver linings, I think, from this game for the Warriors, at least in the game 1. I don't know if moving forward, certainly, but at least in the game 1 for the Warriors and then for Steph long term. The silver lining for the Warriors is for game 1, with Steph out, as great as he is, and certainly as I've defended him over the years, when people act like he's like Luka or something on the defensive end. He's not Luka, but he's certainly no Tony Allen. He's closer to the Luka spectrum than the other side. But Steph gives effort in defense. Steph will get a steal. Steph has blocked shots to win playoff games before. Like he's capable of performing the defensive end. But with no Steph Curry, Steve Kerr pulling the right levers as always, puts Gary Payton II in the game, and the Warriors, for their offensive limitations, actually are better defensively. And so for what was already a great defensive start to the game, they were able to ride that momentum the rest of the way because Minnesota had no one to really attack. You would think, in theory, coming into the playoffs, it might be Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's been excellent on the defensive end of the floor. And we'll get to Buddy and some of the other guys in just a second. But I think that's the silver lining for the Warriors. For Steph, the silver lining, and you got to really try and follow me here. My guess is he doesn't play till game 4. He may try and give it a go in game 3. We'll see. My guess is game 4. He gets to rest that thumb. That's been a story the last week. It was Steph, game 81 in Portland against the Trailblazers. Steph Curry injured his shooting thumb. It hasn't hurt him much because he was great in the Clippers game at the end of the regular season, great at the end of the Memphis play-in win, and then obviously had moments, games 1, 3, and 7 against the Rockets, in which he was brilliant through large stretches of those games. And so, but Steph was asked before last night's game at shoot-around about the thumb injury and how it affected him. And he said something along the lines of, like, I'll be fine. We'll see down the road. So the thumb is clearly bothering Steph. You saw the Rockets try and go at it. I don't defend Ime Udoka coached teams much, but I defended him like that's sports. You're not trying to hurt the player, but you are trying to make it, get an advantage based off that player's injury. So Steph at least gets to rest his thumb over the next week, which is good. And certainly his hamstring even more important. And so that's the other part of it. I will say this, and I tweeted this last night, and I'll repeat it on this reaction video. In the event that Steph Curry comes back, be it game 3, I would guess I hope it's not as late as 5, because who knows, maybe the Warriors will be down 3-1 at that point. I don't think that'd be the case. I think they could get one of the next 3 if Steph is out. But all of that said, if Steph comes back, and he's Steph, he is A+, best player in a series guy, I am as confident as ever in the pick that I made back in March. That team's winning the title. I have no doubts whatsoever. We can show you how the next 3 best players in the Warriors, all of them in their own way, stepped up quarter by quarter once Steph went down. We can show you those numbers and who stepped up. Wait a second. Is that Alfred on top? Is that Lucius on the left? And is that Robin on the right, on the bottom right? That can't be right. Wait a second. That's Buddy Hield, who plays the role of Alfred in the Batman franchise, for those that are maybe struggling to follow here. Draymond Green playing. I think Draymond Green is the perfect Lucius Fox. Lucius Fox is the scientist and inventor who is able to get Batman all these gadgets in the Dark Knight trilogy. Draymond kind of does everything, right? He's the glue that holds this thing together. And Jimmy Butler plays the role, of course, of Robin. And so, and the reason I use that obviously is because Jimmy Butler has, since the play-in tournament, has talked about how Steph is Batman, he's Robin. I'm following Batman, and all these teams got Joker and Two-Face and the Riddler and all these different villains and Blue Ivy. Or not Blue Ivy. I'm thinking about Beyonce's daughter, Poison Ivy. All of those different things, and yet and still, they were able to get the job done because of a mantra that has been the theme of the Warriors since Steve Kerr took over: strength in numbers. Can we put up those numbers one more time? Because I didn't really go over them the way I should have. So Buddy Hield leads the Warriors in scoring with 24. He hits 5 threes, 16 in the third quarter. Draymond Green, 18, 8, and 6. Classic Draymond game. 14 points in the second quarter, hitting a bunch of three-pointers. And then Jimmy Butler, again, 7 in the fourth quarter of his 20. He gives you 11 rebounds and 8 assists. But Jimmy hit some shots in the fourth quarter, hit free throws, was able to kind of stave off a late Minnesota run when they cut it to 8, 9 points. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they cannot blow this. And they get stops. Gary Payton hit a big 3. Buddy Hield hit a big 3. There was like that like minute stretch where Gary, Buddy hits those 3s. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're good. We're going to hang on to this, get some stops, and get to the finish line in one piece, somewhat, at least with Steph Curry gone. So again, I think Minnesota's going to win game 2 tomorrow. I think it is we cannot go down 2-0 at home to a team that is missing its best player, or we are done. If the Warriors find a way to win tomorrow, I will go so far as to say if Steph doesn't come back till like a game 6, it's over. It is over for the Timberwolves. I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll win tomorrow. Frankly, I think they'll win convincingly tomorrow, shoot way better than they did from 3. But I think you saw in this game why I was so confident in picking the Warriors. I picked them in 6. But I thought the Warriors were an atrocious matchup for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought the analysis by most coming into the series of, Lakers are a small team, Timberwolves are a big team. Timberwolves abuse the Lakers' lack of size. Timberwolves are a big team, Warriors are a small team. The Timberwolves will abuse the Warriors. Slow down. What such analysis is failing to bring up is that the Lakers, they didn't have a true big. They didn't have Draymond Green, who can defend 1 through 5 at an elite level. And not only that, forget the defensive end, because we know what Draymond does in that, and he should be a 4-time defensive player of the award winner, defensive player of the year award winner, whatever. It's what he gives you on the offensive end. And it's not just, listen, he scored 18 last night. That's not the norm from Draymond. We know this. It's the fact that Draymond Green does what any team that has been successful against Rudy Gobert in the playoffs does: play 5 out, make Rudy guard the perimeter. We are not going to post a guy up down low. Like Kevon Looney's play minutes. I don't think, like, even Kevon Looney, who's not a shooter, is playing out there in the perimeter, setting screens for Buddy Hield, briefly setting screens for Steph Curry or Jimmy Butler, trying to get these guys space, rolling, kicking out to shooters. getting ball movement, making the Timberwolves having to rotate. And so it is that has always been the mold on how to be a Rudy Gobert playoff team, whether he's in Utah, whether he's in Minnesota. Make that guy guard the perimeter. He's a great rim protector, great shot blocker. He cannot guard anybody outside. And so make the Timberwolves have to take Rudy Gobert off the floor, which means no shot blocker. So you can drive in the paint. So Jimmy Butler can get to the line, can finish down low. And so again, I think you saw, even without Steph Curry, listen, again, if he comes back, oh my gosh, like forget about it. This series is a wrap. So listen, Minnesota's going to win game 2 tomorrow. I think I got to be honest. I don't know what to make of game 3 because my gut tells me Steph's not going to play. I think my gut tells me he's going to try and play, but I don't think the Warriors will feel comfortable. It's like if they were down 2-0, they feel like we have to win this game. We can't go down 3-0. No one's ever come back from 3-0. And on the other side of that coin, it's a situation they won last night is we don't want to go down 2-1, but we have a better chance at winning this series if Steph's a little bit healthier for game 4. And then we've won a game 7 on the road in Houston. So if he gets there to Minnesota, we've already done it. We feel confident in those spots. We've won a million game 7s in this dynasty. So I think last night, given the injury, which again, we'll hear the news about that later today, far after this video is recorded, which I'm recording it at like 11:30-ish Eastern Standard Time, is I think all things considered, with the injury, post-injury, this is about the best case scenario that the Warriors could have possibly hoped for. Draymond was great second quarter, Buddy third quarter, Jimmy fourth quarter. The defense was great down the stretch. And the last point that I will make is the key. Again, if the Warriors steal game 2, I will just be flabbergasted. Like they were a worse matchup for the Timberwolves than even I thought. I don't think that'll happen. With game 3 being the real sort of not turning point, but real good look into what this series will look like moving forward. There's no debate that Jimmy Butler is the key to making that work. So we know, again, the rule of the playoffs, and the Warriors have kind of broken that rule in game 7 on the road in Houston and game 1 on the road in Minnesota, is that role players are better at home. Timberwolves role players weren't. The Warriors role players were. Again, it was kind of the same thing in Houston, which was weird. But you have to imagine Podziemski will be really good in games 3 and 4. So will Gary Payton. Quentin Post in the minutes that he gets. I don't know how much Quentin Post will play this series, but Quentin Post, all of these guys. But Jimmy Butler's the key. And it's why this is the whole reason that you brought him in to be Steph's co-star, is that if, God forbid, Steph were to miss time in the playoffs, which he's going to at the very bare minimum miss one game, you have a guy who, as the number 1 option in the last 2 playoffs, has given you this. Jimmy Butler, 2022-2023. He averages 27, 7, and 5, about 2 steals per game, shoots 48% from the field, 35 from 3, 82 from the line. He went to 2 Eastern Conference Finals and 1 NBA Finals. That Finals, he led the Heat there as the 8 seed by knocking out the 1 seed Bucks, the 5 seed Knicks, and the 2 seed Celtics. So I'm not saying he's going to be 27 points per game guy. I'm not saying he necessarily even has to be. But even at times in the fourth quarter, and Stan Van Gundy was all over this. It's like, Jimmy, like, you're the guy now. Be more aggressive. And so I think with time to prepare, game 2 will go however it goes. The main thing for the Warriors is just get out of that game healthy. And then game 3 is kind of the real good look into what this team is going to be with Jimmy Butler as the number 1 option for the certainly foreseeable future for as long as Steph Curry is out. So I want to see Jimmy be aggressive, at least be aggressive in game 2 so we can get a good look into what that can be in game 3 for hopefully a 30-plus point outburst. But it's on Jimmy now. It is on Jimmy now with Steph Curry out. Listen, you're Batman now. You're Batman. Buddy Hield's Robin, and Draymond Green is, well, he's still Lucius Fox. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.